Vieira, and I received the Holy Spirit. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't even stand myself anymore. As a consequence, I became depressed and I tried to take my life 3 times. I used to say, what's the point in living? My parents came to the Universal Church when I was 2 years old because they had severe love life problems and health as well. But my problems began when I was 10 years old. By now, my dad was a pastor and my mom was a wife. And because they were busy, my dad was holding service and my mom was working in the office. In my head, it started to happen that they didn't have time for me, that the church was the one that took my parents away. And for me, I started to have lots of hatred towards the leadership of the church. I developed grudges towards my parents because they never had much time for me, especially in the age that I was. I needed a lot of support and help and time. And what happened was I started to have low self-esteem. I developed low self-esteem and I thought that I was useless, that they didn't care about me, especially when I needed it most. I used to say, what's the point in living? I was also bullied at school and consequently it also affected my grades at school. And I couldn't stand myself in the mirror. There were months, like months passed and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't even stand myself anymore. As a consequence, I became depressed and I tried to take my life 3 times. The first time, it was in the middle of the night around 3 o'clock in the morning. My heart beat so fast. And I remember I went to the kitchen, I got the knife and I was gonna slit the vein that goes directly to my heart. But I shaked so much, I dropped the knife and I ran to my room and I cried that day. The second time, it was during the day I had come back from school. I went and I tried to get bleach to drink it. The moment that I was gonna drink it there in the kitchen, it was by the sink, my sister came in and then I threw the bleach down as if I was cleaning. And the third time, when I just couldn't bear it anymore, I went to the bathroom and I was getting myself ready for school. I got those painkillers and I took some, but then I didn't finish taking them. I was just bitter because I wanted to die and I had enough. I was very depressed and upset and felt very lonely, empty because of all the situations that I was going through. I saw my sister changing. I saw friends of mine in the VYG, people that I knew who they were before and who they became. And that even became even greater inside of me because I was almost born in the church. So I knew the truth and I did everything that I did. And I thought to myself, would God really want me? I've never experienced the world, but I was invited to a family member's wedding abroad. And I remember that when I went there, it wasn't exactly what I thought. Just before the wedding day, I saw they were fighting, drinking, arguing. And that's where I remembered my parents. That I've never seen them like that. They never argued like that. They had peace. We had peace in our house. We had happiness. That's where my turning point began. When I arrived back into the UK, I've had enough. I saw everything and that wasn't life for me. So I decided to make a chain of prayer. And within a year, I was completely free. I always heard about the importance of the Holy Spirit. And I had this emptiness and void still inside of me. And I remember one day I went to the meeting and the pastor was saying, if you don't have the Holy Spirit, you don't belong to Him. And that for me was, I really wanted Him. I desired Him more than anything. And I started to seek Him with all my heart, with everything that I had to show to Him that He was going to be the first one in my life. God showed me I had to forgive my parents as I had a grudge towards them and the way that I spoke to them and treated them. I also had a resentment towards an authority in the church and I had to approach them. It wasn't just enough for me just to say to God that I had forgiven them. I had to speak to the person as well. And also I had to break my pride. I had to go against what I felt to show to God that I truly wanted Him more than anything. But the hardest thing of all was to forgive myself because of everything that I did to God. So I thought that God didn't want me, that He wasn't going to receive me. I had to go against that. I know that God wanted me more than anything. So I had to go against it, all the thoughts that I was feeling of everything that I went through. And I had to come to God the way that I was. And during the service, I told God everything that I had inside of me, all the thoughts that I still carried inside of me, everything that I had that I still hadn't given to God, I gave to God. And I remember, if it was today, that this assurance that came over me that I was not alone, that He was with me, a joy, a peace, a happiness. I cried, I laughed. And I know that I used to depend on a lot of people's opinion, But from then on, I had my own opinion, and from there I never was the same. The way I think about myself is completely different today. I don't see myself in a negative way. I don't have low self-esteem. I believe in myself. I know who I was and who I became before God. I don't have any grudges, any resentments towards anyone. Today, I'm a completely different person. Today, I'm following in my parents' footsteps. Today, I'm a pastor's wife. I'm married to a man of God. We're serving God on the altar together, from someone who didn't want to serve God to today, all I want to do is to save souls. That's my only desire.